I have to my right the former gender minister, former minister for gender, children and social protection, Nana Akufo Lithur. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. And I have on my left Akosua Manu, Deputy Director of Communications in the Office of the First Lady.
Indeed.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we are going to dive straight into the issues this morning. And we want to discuss the first one is the issue. The President is in France, and he has been speaking. In the conversations that he's been having with Ghanaians in France, he's made certain comments. One of the things that he's spoken about is the fact that he's happy about the decision by Parliament to discontinue or suspend, for now, the project, the idea of building the parliamentary complex. He seems to be excited about it. I have a few questions myself because there was a letter that was cited that he was supposed to do the sword cutting for the project to begin in June, actually. But now he seems excited that it has been suspended, saying that it's important to listen to the voice of the people, and that if Ghanaians are not happy about it, then it should be shelved. Let me begin with you, Nana Akufo Lithur. What are your comments regarding this, considering the different things that have happened thus far? And then to hear that this is
comments that the President...
Yes.
Well, the President doesn't really have a choice.
Okay.
The President does not...
I think everybody has a choice.
He does not have a choice on this issue because he represents the people of Ghana. Mm-hmm. He represents us. And we hold him accountable. And he cannot attempt to find an easy way out by sitting in Europe and making a simplistic political statement.
Mm. You don't think he was genuine?
And think that he could wish away this very critical issue, this very critical debate that Ghanaians have had about how our resources, how our limited resources should be spent. It is very regrettable that it got to that extent, because if he was a president who was keenly aware of our limited resources, he has gone for millions and billions of debts, loans, to enable us run our economy. And if he is saying that he was not aware that Parliament had taken that decision, the Parliamentary Services Board had taken that decision to spend $200 million on a structure when we have issues relating to our economy, we have issues relating to poverty, we have issues, serious challenges with our power. There's power shedding, load shedding going on now. You just read the IPs who say there's a lot of debt, and the process of procurement of a new parliamentary chamber has gone to an extent. I have seen a letter that has been written to him about this construction. I'm sure it was duly delivered. And so for him to wait for the processes to go, the procurement processes to go on, for Parliament to make the announcement, and then for Ghanaians to debate and say no, drop that chamber, before he comes out to make a simplistic political statement that, oh, I'm happy Ghanaians have said it. He, as president representing the people of Ghana, could have stopped this right from the beginning. He wanted to build a cathedral.
Yeah.
and then now they want to build a parliament chamber. Why did this idea even go through some processes?
But
knowing as president, he should know, as a mother, I know the housekeeping money, and I know my responsibilities, and I know my obligations with respect to that. I mean, with respect to what I should spend for my household. So if he knows that we have all these challenges, how on earth could he have waited for this procurement process for a chamber to travel down when he was aware? Till Ghanaians said no, and we started the hashtag drop that chamber. So before you go to France, in France, and you make a simplistic political statement, no, we will not accept that statement. We are telling the president of Ghana that we have limited resources.
Let me ask another question.
He should prioritize.
You can finalize your thoughts.
He should prioritize the projects that he would utilize our money for as president.
So let me pose a scenario here. So we've done a lot of infrastructure projects over the years. Let's say that the life of this republic, right? We've done several infrastructure projects, including the presidency. That was done in this republic. Now, there's been various arguments that are posed to actually justify the construction of the different projects. Some are social amenities that we need in our system to help us and all of that. Some too are not necessarily social per se, but they work for the country. It's for the benefit of the country. Now, this decision was taken by Parliament, by the Parliamentary Services Board, not the executive, right? Why are you so, now 2 questions. Why are you so hard on him since it wasn't taken by him? And the day the issue came up first in the press, Minister of Communications actually came out and said the executive knew nothing about it.
But that was not true. Because we saw a letter addressed to the president.
You'll get to answer.
That was not true.
Let me finish.
So let's even withdraw that because
let me finish.
That was not even true.
He did make that statement. So you let me finish.
But it was not true. It was not true.
You can address it.
Yes.
So I'm asking that why are you bashing him directly as though he initiated the process? And then secondly, is there no place? Because right now it looks as though it's a temporary suspension of the idea of building the project and not a complete drop that chamber, right? The Parliament House doesn't exist as we speak. It's State House that exists, and Parliament is housed in State House. That's the reality on the ground. Parliament House got burnt. Of course, they were not using it at the time it got burnt anyway, but we don't have a Parliament House, so to speak. Of course, wherever the speaker is Parliament. But in terms of a Parliament House, we now have a presidency. That's Jubilee House, Flagstaff House, whatever you want to call it, depending on who you are. But we don't have a Parliament House. So just suppose your argument looking at this.
Thank you. Okay. In just opposing my arguments with respect to whether or not a Parliament House exists. First, Parliament is sitting in very comfortable surroundings. I make a comparison with the oldest parliament in the world. We saw pictures of the United Kingdom Parliament in Westminster as compared to our parliament. And I would say that our parliament and our parliamentarians sit in more congenial, comfortable surroundings, spacious surroundings than the UK Parliament in Westminster.
Well, the argument can be made that it's actually just a debating chamber.
If I can finish,
and the entirety of the complex is more than that. If I can
finish, I allowed you to finish, so please allow me to finish.
Well, I'm setting the discussion.
Yes, we're setting the discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's, like you have rightly said, is only the debating chamber.
Yeah.
Parliamentarians have their committee rooms. Under President John Dramani Mahama, we were able to complete their offices I have visited several parliamentarians in their offices. They have excellent office facilities. They are well housed. We don't have a problem. And the work of Parliament is going on very smoothly.
All right.
My icing on top of my cake is the passage of the Right to Information Bill, which I was one of those who pioneered and started. So Parliament is doing its work, no problem. The issue is, what are our priorities as a state? What are our priorities as a state? And since the work of Parliament is going on, constructing a chamber for Parliament is not our priority in Ghana presently.
Okay.
That is not our priority.
Fair enough.
And so I would expect the president, if I am not bashing the president, who will I bash? He decided to campaign and he told us, so meshe. He decided to campaign to become president of Ghana because he said he was competent and he could do the job. And so when I find out that $200 million of money is being used to construct a chamber, when there are kids who do not have access to education, when there are children, there are people who do not drink treated water, when our state, when Ghana government has to go for billions of dollars in loans, then I would question the capacity of our president, Nana Akufo Addo, to determine what is good for the people of Ghana.
Okay.
I'll question him today and I'll question him tomorrow because he is the president.
All right.
And he is the head of the household for Ghana and he determines how our money should be spent.
All right.
And we as Ghanaians are saying that chamber should be dropped because it is not a priority.
All right.
We have other pressing needs in Ghana than a chamber,
all right,
a debating chamber.
Let me come to Akosua Manu. So you've heard the things that the president said. You've also heard what Nana is saying here regarding that. What are your thoughts?
All right. Now, good morning once again to your cherished viewers and to Madam Lithur. I'm actually quite a bit overwhelmed by her submission because the talk of a chamber didn't just start 2 weeks ago. In fact, John Mahama, in his State of the Nation address, 2013 had mentioned that there was a need for a new chamber. Now, he deemed it fit to talk about it. However, the conversation seems to only start from 2 weeks ago. I am not sure if she has cited a document, because I haven't seen any document that tables any procurement processes by Parliament. Again, it could be privileged information that she has, but I haven't cited that document. When it comes to the chamber, it is something that, as a member of the ruling party, I'm against. In fact, a lot of people have come out to say they're against it. Drop that chamber is not an exclusive hashtag that belongs to the NDC, no. Ghanaians across the length and breadth of this country said no. Why? Because we felt it wasn't a priority. Now, when it comes to parliamentary processes, when it comes to separation of powers, we know how these things work. Parliament could have a discussion which the executive will not have as an itemed, agenda on their cards. Now, was it officially documented to the executive? I haven't seen any document to the effect that it was discussed on the floor of Parliament and people put their concerns across.
No,
but what I can say...
What happened was that the Parliamentary Services Board had a conversation, decided that the president would do the sword cutting.
Again, it calls we have to ask Parliament what those processes are, because a lot of MPs on both sides were quite surprised by it. The only thing that, again, you see, the posture that Madam has assumed in this scenario makes it something of a bipartisan thing where the ruling government has decided to go to do something. If we would recall, last week, majority and minority leader together went to sit at a media house to justify.
They were right here. It was
Yes.
a point of view.
I think it was GH1 that actually saw them. So
okay.
yeah.
They
So
came here too.
if at the end of the day, parliamentarians would feel that they need a bigger chamber because, well, their numbers are going to increase and they have other considerations. But we all agree that it is not a priority now. There are a lot of things that we need to consider. Now, you see, when we talk about priorities, and she mentioned, the president said submission. In 2013, when John Mahama took over, there was no clear policy that he was following. In fact, I can't remember a single initiative that they had rolled out. But I'm just saying, because look at the things that this government inherited when we came to power. We had legacy debts. We just actually cleared arrears of 1.6 million. Okay, at NHIS. We are actually providing free education. We are giving agriculture a new lease. Okay, people are actually now, young people are actually going into agric. We are actually expanding the economy at 3.6% that we inherited from them. The figures show that at 8.1%, this economy is growing. So when we sit back and then make it look like the president just woke up one day to decide, and clearly, he has come out to say, you know what, it is not, he's willing to listen to Ghanaians, and he's done that several times on issues that we've been very loud about. So drop that chamber is not an exclusive agenda of to be knocked down by the opposition, not at all. Ghanaians know and Ghanaians realize both party and also government have listened, and it's not going anywhere for now. Okay,
so let me just get your
Yes.
your final thoughts and response to her position. It's simply that he is actually, in contrast to what you're suggesting, he is actually a listening president. He is actually mindful of the feelings of Ghanaians, and you didn't necessarily agree with that earlier on.
What are the facts? The facts speak for themselves.
The facts are that he's...
I will answer the facts, so you leave me to answer the facts. What are the facts? A process was initiated in Parliament. Where is that 200 million going to come from? It's going to come from the executive. There are processes between... We even now have a minister in charge of parliamentary affairs. So that tells you that there's even a stronger coordination between the executive and the legislative arm of government under President Nana Akufo Addo. The president was very well aware that Parliament intended to erect and construct a chamber for Parliament. And what dropped that chamber, and Ghanaians are saying,
but I know that's still speculation.
In terms of priority, that was wrong. And if indeed he were a listening president, he wouldn't go and sit 5, 7, 8, 10,000 kilometers away in France, far away in Europe, and then make a simplistic statement about, yeah, I've listened to Ghanaians. He should have been here, and the process should not even have started. Because as a president, I was expecting him to draw a blueprint right from year one when he was sworn in. This is how much we have, and this is our priority. Because as a good housekeeper, that is what you do. As the head of a household, you check what is in the kitty, you check what money you have, and you draw your plan in terms of your priorities. And he knows what our priorities are as Ghanaians, because when he was campaigning, we told him, and he even told us, one village, one dam. One village, one dam. What do we have now? One junction, one baller. And he's thinking about building a chamber. He had better drop that chamber. Thank you.
Any final thoughts? She says one junction, one baller. That's what we are experiencing. I'm not sure if I necessarily see that in town when I'm driving, but
yeah, I'm happy that I can actually cite about 3 junctions from here, and I don't see any such thing. So, well, maybe where she was coming from. Anyway, when it comes to she said the president is in charge of the kitty. I agree, and I wonder her position then in 2013 when President Mahama had actually itemized this in his SONA address. Now, let's not also forget that we've spent over $100 million to renovate Parliament. All right. Again, it's worrying for me, given the high appetite to inflate contracts that the previous government has. But we're not going to go into that. The point again, and I'll stress on this.
Every administration seems to have had that issue.
I'll stress on this though. Drop That Chamber is not an exclusive of the NDC. It's Ghanaians saying something, and the president has listened, and he does listen, and he has his priorities right. So that's what I have to say on that.
Okay, all right. Let's dive into yesterday's demonstration. Thousands joined Kumyem Preko demonstration. Now, I find it interesting because there was actually a Kume Preko that is an antecedent to this, and it was a very well patronized demonstration as well some years back. I was much younger then, but I remember, the fallout of that and those who were involved and so on. I'm going to start with you, Akosua, on this. I watched news footage and videos and pictures online, and I know Ye herself was, in the vanguard of the demonstrations. So I was very excited to find out that she was coming on the show this morning to ask her the details of what happened on the ground. But let me start with you. The demonstrators basically say that there's issues of insecurity, there's issues of economic hardship, taxes are high, and so on and so forth. And there were quite a lot of people out there on the streets, large numbers of people. What does it mean? Should the government be concerned?
Okay, I'd like to begin with sending my condolences out to the family of Justice Ajakuma. In 2015, when the Let My Vote Count, demonstration or protest march happened, he unfortunately lost his eye. The ruling government of the day actually set out a chain of events that saw people being beaten, people being physically abused, and this young man lost his eye. Subsequently, he's lost his life. The burial, his final funeral rites is this weekend. My condolences goes out to his family. Now, the demonstration yesterday, congratulations to government and the police. It was peaceful. I mean, I saw Madame with her placard, no interference, no fear of being, heckled or, being beaten, or we've gone through things in this country, and they were at the helm of affairs. But yesterday was peaceful. Now, given the issues you
so
outlined,
you're patting yourselves on your shoulder?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because she's here this morning. Typically, when they are regime, you don't, the next day you probably end up in the hospital with a few massages. But the point I'm trying to make is they were able to organize they were able to exercise their democratic rights. It's good. The issues they outlined, to me, didn't really resonate with Ghanaians because the numbers that we had been told will show up clearly was woefully inadequate, in my opinion. Because
really,
everywhere it made
people.
Everywhere I actually thought the city was going to be on lockdown, traffic everywhere. None of such happened. I was quite surprised. But again, I would like to say that in exercising your rights, make sure that you also genuinely show, express the feelings of Ghanaians. At a point with videos I saw, it almost looked like a joke to me, rolling around, pretending to cry. Also, funny things were going on. And I was like, okay, maybe this is what they are going for. But in all of this, what alternative are you providing Ghanaians? What are you saying? Are you going to give us free education? Are you going to make sure that our lights stay on as this government has done? All right. Yes, we do have a few challenges. Are you going to make sure that, as they actually outline in their green book, that they had covered over 60% of road infrastructure. And we know what the challenges are now. Are they going to make sure that even with the banking crisis that hits this country, are we going to trust them to make sure that people can go to bed knowing that their funds are secure and the people who are in charge are making sure that the right things are done? These are the things that we need to ask them. It's no longer just lip service, trying to acquire power for power's sake. Ghanaians are wide awake and they can see the differences between them and us. And I'll ask that when they decide to go on these marches, they sit down and define what the purpose of it is. At the end of the day, to me, I think it fell flat on its face and the impact is quite negligible.
But they said that, they told us the purpose of it. They said that, look, we're tired of the hardship we're experiencing. We're tired of, skyrocketing prices, taxes are going up, there's insecurity in the country, kidnapping taking place, people that don't feel safe and all of those things.
Well, we can always speak to the facts. When it comes to security, Ghana is ranked 4th in West Africa. We're actually ranked safer than the US and the UK. It's facts. We can't run away from that. So again, every country has its issues, yes, but even if we're going to stick to the facts, and we should always go to the facts always tell a better story for us.
Okay. So, I know you.
Yeah,
she says the facts
much.
always tell a better story for us.
The facts tell a perfect story. And the perfect story that was told yesterday was historic. The perfect story is that Ghanaians are totally fed up and totally, deeply disappointed in the MPP government and in President Nana Akufo Addo. The facts say
Please hold your
that
thoughts
there
right
were
there.
hundreds of
We need to take a
thousands.
short break. We'll come back. Okay.
Fine.
We're going to take a short break. We'll come back and continue with the thoughts of Nana Akufo.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so we have a couple of messages before we go back to Nana Oye to continue her submission. This one comes from Kwesi from Takrady. He says, they come telling you that theirs is a listening government as if dropping the chamber is a favor done to us. They are lying. It's our will that has prevailed. The real power in every democracy lies with the people. Howard from Palestine says, yesterday's demo was completely needless and baseless. NDC are just trying to throw dust in the eyes of people to get power. But it won't work because we all know what this current administration is doing. No amount of lies and propaganda can change their minds. Anyway, back to your
to the facts. Back to the facts. What are the facts? MPP government has failed woefully. The economy is in doldrums. There's economic hardship in Ghana.
That doesn't,
the taxes.
No, that doesn't sound accurate.
It sounds it's not even sound. It is very accurate. There is economic hardship in Ghana.
But the microeconomic indicators do not suggest that.
There is economic hardship in Ghana. Let's walk down the street and ask just 5 people and they will tell the story. We are suffering load shedding. There are challenges with provision of electricity. There are challenges with access to quality education. We see what is happening with the senior high schools. We talk about free senior high school, traffic lights senior high school, green, red, gold, and what have you. And now the kids come home and the parents are having to pay for private tuition for the kids because they're sitting for months at home.
Yeah, but we've always paid for private tuition anyway. Ghanaians, we have a culture of paying for private tuition anyway. Even when your children are in regular school,
not at this
they come
level.
Home, there's
home classes. Traditionally, they were in school for longer, and we did not pay private tuition at this level.
But are they not covering the exact same syllabus, though?
They are not covering the exact same syllabus, and that is why parents are having to pay extra, digging into their pocket. You might as well target those who are actually in need but this government did not listen, and it has failed woefully. Let's look at the BEC results and the senior high school results. Bad, 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 really bad. Now let's go to the infrastructure. Let's go to sanitation. Let's go to environment. 2, not over 10, 0 over 10, 0 over 10. The NPP government has failed and Ghanaians are disappointed. And yesterday, there were hundreds of thousands who demonstrated their anger and their deep disappointment in the poor governance of the NPP government led by President Nana Akufo Addo. I don't know which television our sister was looking at, but I was part of it and it was amazing. It was really amazing how Ghanaians were able to articulate. But even what is deeply worrying...
Some would say that you guys were just crying crocodile tears.
What is deeply worrying, when a fellow journalist has been arrested and his head covered with a carrier bag, you say it is crocodile tears.
No, but I was
when
watching,
a journalist, Ahmed Swale, has been killed in broad daylight, when Mugabe has been arrested, you call it crocodile tears.
Well, that's what some would say.
Well, other Ghanaians, unlike you, will not call it crocodile tears. They are real tears of sorrow. They are real tears of anger. They are real tears of disappointment by Ghanaians who voted for President Nana Akufo Addo. When taxi drivers are crying, you call it crocodile tears.
I was watching a video.
When spare parts, please, let me finish.
on the floor.
Whoever was sitting on the floor, that is their right, and they are communicating.
And it looks more like antics.
To you, it looks like antics. But if you, a journalist, are arrested here when we finish this program, and a carrier bag, a rubber bag is put on your head, and it is tied, and you are bundled into a car, and you are tortured and slapped, come and sit here tomorrow and tell me that it is crocodile tears and it's a charade. Sit here tomorrow and tell me that this is real impunity, this is real torture, this is real violation of human rights, of journalists who are a mouthpiece, shutting down of radio stations, closing down of people's banks, people who have toiled for this country. In America, in Europe, in Nigeria, Ghanaians are being supported and promoted to conduct their business. And in Ghana, the NPP government and President Nana Akufo Addo are running down Ghanaians. Tell it to the spare parts dealers today, this morning. Look into the camera and tell them that it is crocodile tears. Those who are paying tax for luxury vehicles, tell them it is crocodile tears, and they will give you an appropriate response. Ghanaians have communicated and demonstrated to the NPP government that enough is enough. And what are we saying? If the NPP government cannot rule and govern, then they should get off the seat for another party to govern Ghana. This is what we are saying. This is what you saw. They all marched by your offices. It is not crocodile tears. These are real anguish tears. If they could cry blood, we'll cry blood, because we are very, very, very disappointed. All we want, all Ghanaians want, is to have access to education, not to live in fear. We have insecurity. Girls have been kidnapped. It's now been about 6 weeks. Now we haven't heard anything. We have not heard anything. Journalists are picked up at random. People are arrested at random. And you sit here and call it crocodile tears. Let Ghanaians answer next year, and you see whether it is indeed crocodile tears or not. When the journalist who came and sat in your studio last year told you about the story about how he was put upside down, he was slapped by BNI, and then he was handcuffed.
You mean last week?
Last week he was handcuffed and he was hung upside down. When he tells his story, look in his face and tell him it's crocodile tears. City FM, City TV, look in that guy's face and tell them, for me, it is never crocodile tears. These are tears that Ghanaians are crying because we just want to feed our families. We cannot feed our families. Taxi drivers cannot feed their families. It is never crocodile tears. I would never belittle the tears of Ghanaians. Those who marched yesterday, I say congratulations, Ayiko. You did not cry crocodile tears. Esu amusu e fomoni nyefue wofe womusu nshawo ye Ghana ni woba we will speak and speak and speak until the government sits up. It is never crocodile tears.
All right. Akosua.
Yeah.
You heard what she said. Let me just quickly read some messages before you bring your thoughts. All right, so Abbas from Offenso says, we thank all those who were able to take part in the demonstration. The hardship from the government is unbearable. Okay, this next one is from Mystic in Sowam Edwajiri. Even Nana Akufo has admitted that there's hardship in the country, and his communicators are all over defending the indefensible hardship. Is it not true that there's insecurity? Where are the Takrade girls? Is it true that freedom of speech is suppressed by this government? Where is Manasseh Azuri? Why may the soul of Ahmed Swale rest in peace? The unprecedented, unbearable hardship is written over all the faces of Ghanaians. It's preposterous and gibberish for this government to think that the only solution to all problems is free SHS. Okay, so the Maxwell Adams says, what the MPP lady is talking about, do they think that's governance? There's one more. This is coming from Olue in Tamale. He says, indeed, the president doesn't have a choice but to step down from being Ghana's president. Ghana is bigger than Nana Akufo, and he has failed Ghanaians by deceiving them. All right. So, Akosua, she says that they were crying real tears of pain, and that Ghanaians are in a lot of pain and anguish, and that they are feeling and exhibiting on behalf of Ghanaians what the deepest feelings of Ghanaians are.
I'm happy that the tears we saw, you called it right though. I mean, there was no other way to describe what we saw yesterday. I felt that if indeed you felt the pain of Ghanaians, you'd go about it in a more serious manner. Now, she mentioned Ghanaians running down businesses. I mean, sometimes I wonder where we are as a country if we ignore the 8 years the NDC was in government, if we ignore the 4 years of Dumso. Dumso was not just power going off or you losing entertainment time or just not having your drinks cold at the end of the day. No, it went beyond that. It got to people having to invest in purchase of generators. It got to people in buying fuel, okay, costly. It got to people who saw their overheads increase to a point where they couldn't even pay their workers. Companies collapsed. Investors didn't even want to come into the country. It's fact. We saw, even then, we saw a backlog of nurses. Why? We'd forget that, and let's be very candid here. This is an administration that is very consistent in their incompetence, that was consistent in running to the IMF. You'd look at the number of times the NDC ran to the IMF and then would use it as an excuse for not creating employment opportunities because they couldn't hire, they couldn't spend. They were just bereft of ideas. They had no solutions available. Now this government in 3 years is reducing the ridiculous legacy debt you gave to us, whilst also opening up the economy, creating opportunities for people, hiring nurses that you were happy to say you had given opportunities to train. We've done that. We are paying teachers allowances. We are paying nurses allowances. We are actually creating opportunities through areas like planting for food and jobs, rearing for food and jobs. I mean, the opportunities are endless, but we can decide to ignore it. But again, the facts are telling. She can't run away from it.
Akosua, some would say that these are more like a cosmetic sham, because the reality, it seems from anecdotal evidence on the ground, is that we are proposing many things, but it doesn't seem to be effective, because then what are the real numbers involved, and what are the real stories of the real lives that have changed as a result or have been impacted as a result? Okay,
now when it comes to entrepreneurial opportunities, when it comes to startups, David, you've been there before. As an entrepreneur, your business that doesn't just take off the ground in a year for you to be profitable.
True.
You have to give a number of years to it. This government is in its third year. And even when the third year that we are in, the indicators are favorable. It looks good for us. It is not a perfect story. We haven't transformed lives the way that we would have, but we are putting the fundamentals in place. And let's not forget that we've had to actually tighten our belts in the process. What the NPP does well, really well, is making sure that the economy runs well. What we have to do is to seize the opportunities and make it worthwhile. We will not in any way ridicule Ghanaians and belittle the issues they have. We will not go on a walk and pretend to cry. The president, and we know this, easily the hardest working official in government. Day and night, he's on the trot, because he wants to make sure that he leaves a lasting legacy for Ghanaians to point out to. He is not one to come and tell you lies and tell you we'll do things that we'll not do. It's evident. What did they do in their 8 years? When there was debt, when there was doomsday, when they didn't have free education, what opportunities did they make available to us? We don't need to get very simplistic in our arguments and just, hit the drums on it's hard, it's tough for Ghanaians, it's hard. Investors are coming into the country, they are looking on, they are saying, you know what, Ghana is a place to be. We can't run away from those indicators either. So I'm happy they went on a peaceful demonstration. Their issues did not resonate, I repeat, it didn't resonate well with Ghanaians, because I would have thought they would have shut the whole city down. In fact, I saw Madam in a Black Stars jersey. I actually thought she had gone to, she just dropped down from Egypt. But it's all well and good. They had a very peaceful protest, and we commend the government and the police for ensuring that nobody lost a limb, an eye, or any body part.
All right. Any final thoughts before we move to the next topic?
You can be as cheeky as you want to be. You can be as sarcastic and be dismissive of the ordinary poor Ghanaian who walked on that street to communicate and demonstrate her anguish and her pain at the economic hardships. The NDC government fixed the energy crisis. We fixed the energy crisis.
Please wrap up.
And you can say that yes, 8 years of competence. NPP said they could govern. They made promises. They made promises about 1 million per district, one district, one factory, and all of you. All these promises have not been fulfilled. NPP has been a huge disappointment. Those are the facts. And that was what the hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians who demonstrated yesterday communicated. And Ghanaians are saying that enough is enough.
All right. Okay, thank you. Well, whether Nana is right or Akosua is right, 2020 is around the corner. It's not too far away. Let's go to the last topic. Dr. Nduom has activated a process, and he's suing, one of his companies is suing the government for certain issues that have gone on. He has debt that he wants to try and recover. He's apparently gone through different stages of negotiations and discussions, and nothing seems to be coming out of that as a fruitful thing. And he's decided that, look, he's taking it the next step, and he's joined the finance minister, the road minister, and the attorney general to the suit. Nana, let me come to you with that. I think you are a legal,
Yes,
luminary.
yes,
So your comments on this?
Well, basically, he has the legal rights. If he believes that he has a cause of action, then he can go to court. He has that right to institute legal action against whoever and whatever. He has the capacity. His company has the capacity to do that, and so he'll have his day in court. I mean, if he's saying that he's owed money,
$2 billion,
he's
more
owed
than
money.
$2 billion.
Yeah, so I mean,
$2 billion
obviously,
CDs,
if he can prove it, well, he'll have his day in court. That is why we have access to justice, and that is why we have the courts. And so let's see how it goes in courts. I know, I don't really know the details of the case. I haven't cited the writ or his statement of claim, so I'll not really be able to speak to it.
To that.
But if he has, I'm sure he and his team of lawyers have done their assessment, and if they have a good course of action, let's see how it goes.
Basically, and this is
court.
not, this is just commentary on the side,
Yes.
but basically, what's happened is that, and we are all aware because it's in the public space, that his bank was degraded,
Was downgraded, yes.
downgraded,
To the savings and
the
loans.
savings and loans.
Yes.
The claim is that if they even had a quarter of what they were owed,
Yes.
paid back to them, they would be afloat, by now. So, and I know that Gold Coast Securities, which is one of the companies as well, is also struggling, as well. So, this seems to be what has preempted the court.
Yes.
The court.
Yes, I mean, so beyond that, I mean, generally in terms of the banking sector, that's what I would say that. With respect to the governor of the Bank of Ghana and the government, I think that closing down the bank should have been really the last resort. I think it should have been the last resort, and all attempts should have been made to either salvage or address the situation, because it has an impact on our economy.
Yeah.
It has an impact on the lives of the workers. We have hundreds of employees of these banks who are sitting. These banks have buildings. I mean, they have buildings, they have recurring debts. Perhaps they even went for debt loans to build and what have you. So, I mean, it has so many implications, and that should really have been the last resort. And it's interesting that the top three, Unibank, Heritage, and Dr. Nduom's, have some political leanings. There is some sort of political association, and that's why we're saying that it's unfortunate that the governor of the Bank of Ghana has not been transparent. The governor of the Bank of Ghana has allowed the bank, the central bank, to be politicized.
Really?
Yes, to be politicized because Heritage
but
Bank,
the majority of the banks don't have political leanings.
Heritage Bank, Unibank, and Nduom's Bank, I would say, and we're not too happy about that, and it's not good.
Okay.
That some of these key institutions, it happened in the tertiary institutions too, Kwame Nkrumah University and Winneba.
Okay, we're going off.
Politicization of these tertiary institutions and also the banks, not the best.
All right. Akosua, what are your thoughts and your take on this developing situation?
I'm a bit pained by the comments that the governor is
political. Or
political. It saddens me because the governor, during their time, sat down for banks to mismanage the monies of people. In fact, till date, there are people who haven't recovered and might never recover from this. Now, Nduom is well within his rights to sue. I haven't seen the writ of summons. I can't tell what the details are, but I'm not sure that the amount involved is about...
It's over 2 billion.
It's over 2 billion.
2 billion cedis, yes.
I again, with this particular story, cited 2 contractors. I'm not sure if those contractors joined him in the suit against government, because in the story it looks like Nduom is a third party in it. Now, government is paying contractors and will pay contractors. There's a tall list of people owed, most of which we inherited, 1.7 billion at the Roads and Highways Ministry. But I will not digress, because this government is consistent in solving problems. Some of the problems might seem difficult, it's almost unpalatable, but at the end of the day, we have to look at the greater good. Are we going to help people secure their jobs? Are we going to protect the funds that people put into the banks? Are we going to work to gain back the trust that has been eroded as a result of their incompetence during their time? Yes, it might not be an overnight thing, but it will surely happen. The president is very committed. The president has been consistent, and the president is a visionary in outlining policies that are going to make Ghanaians better. I would ask always for Ghanaians to ask the NDC, what policies, what homegrown policies are you going to put on the table for us to discuss and dissect to make Ghana better? That is what we should look at, not protest march and fake tears and misconstrued situations when it comes to governance.
All right.
Thank you,
Okay.
David.
Fantastic. I was joined by Akosua Manu, who's the Deputy Director of Communications at the Office of the First Lady, and also Nana Lithur, who's the former Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. All too soon, we've come to the end of this segment of the show. Thank you very much for watching and your comments. I'll read the last couple of comments that came through, and then we'll wrap up the show. All right. So, hi, Madam Oye. Good personality for Adenta. Welcome. Okay, somebody from Fafraha is saying that. Yes, absolutely, Akosua. Your submission is fantastic. Okay, there. Let me just one more there. Yes, we experienced doom, so that's why we voted out NDC and brought in Anado, and all he could think of was a $200 million chamber. Akosua, please get your facts right. Okay, thank you very much. We will be back with the next segment. Thank you for watching.